Hello guys, welcome to fourth session. In today's session we will learn about Java control flow. In today's session we will discuss about control flow. In control flow, selection statements, iteration statements, and transfer statements. What does it mean by control flow? Control flow statements govern the flow of statements during the program execution. There are three main categories of control flow statements. Like if we have any program, how the control flows within the program. It depends on these three statements, these three flow statements. Okay, one is selection statement, and another one is iteration statements or iteration statements, and transfer statements. We will discuss each and every flow statement now. Selection statements. Selection statements allows program to choose between alternate actions during program execution. The choice is based on the criteria specified in the selection statement. Like uh, we'll have one condition or expression. If that expression satisfies what we have to execute, if it doesn't satisfy what we have to execute. Okay, and if we have multiple choices, multiple options, then what actions needs to be done. So with this selection statement we can flow the control. Okay, so there are three selection statements. One is simple if statement, and if else statement, and switch statement. Simple if statement. The simple if statement has the following syntax. See here, if condition, expression, and statement. Okay, so if we have any condition expression, okay, so that expression, if that satisfies, then this statement will be executed. Okay, it is used to decide whether an action to be performed or not based on a condition. The condition is specified by conditional expression, and action is specified by the statement, which can be a single statement or block of statements. If we have block of statements, then we need to enclose those statements within the curly braces. Let me give an example on simple if statement. Here I have created a class called selection test, and it has one main method, public static void main. In this method what I'll do, integer a equals to 5. Okay, this is the variable declaration, and here what we are going to write is if a double equals to 5. This is one expression, a double equals to 5, then system dot out dot println a is equal to 5. Okay, we will save this one and we'll run this Java class. Okay, run as Java application. See, yeah, here a equals to 5. So here what we are doing is, here we declared a as 5. Okay, and we are comparing if a equals to, if double equals means we are comparing is a equals to 5 or not. Okay, if a equals to 5, if this is true, then this statement will be execute. Okay, so that's what it is executed, and it printed a is equal to 5. Suppose if we change from 5 to 6, okay, and we will see what will happen. Run as Java application. See here, it doesn't execute this statement because we have only one statement. If that expression is true, then only we'll print the statement. This expression is true. Okay, now this is only single statement, and if we want to print or execute multiple statements, then we can enclose those multiple statements within curly braces. Okay, here testing simple if statement. Okay, now what we'll do, we'll change from a equals to 6 to 5. Run as A is equals to 5, testing, simple if statement. So if you want to execute multiple statements based on the expression, then we can enclose those statements with curly braces. Okay, we'll go to slide. Next, if else statement. So in earlier slide, what we discussed, if only one expression is true, then execute one statement. If that expression is not true, what we need to do? So if is there any alternate flow, then if we want to execute that in alternate flow, then we can mention in this if else statement. So this is one kind of selection statement. If else statement is used to decide between two actions. If the based on the condition. See here, if condition expression is true, then execute the statement 1, or else execute statement 2. So condition expression here evaluates first. If it is true, then statement 1 will be executed, otherwise statement 2 will be executed. Okay, we will again we'll create a simple class here and we'll see like how it executes. Okay, we'll use the same class. Okay, here if a double equals to 5, we have some statements, right? What we'll do, we'll put some else block here, and in else block what we'll do, system.out.println a is not equal to 5, out.println testing, simple if else statement. Okay, now we will change it to 6 here. I'm executing run as Java application here. See here, a is not equals to 5 and testing simple if else statement. So if the expression is false and if we want to execute an alternate flow, then we can put those statements in else block. So in this way we can use this if else selection statement. Okay, third selection statement, switch statement. Suppose in earlier two selection statements, like in first statement, if one expression is true, then execute some statements. Okay, and if expression is true, execute few statements. Otherwise, execute different statements. So that is an alternate option. The third one is if we have multiple options, then how we need to execute those statements. So for that we have this switch statement. Switch statement is used to choose one among many alternative actions. How we will represent the switch statement? Okay, here we'll use switch keyword and open braces, okay, and switch expression, and we'll start curly braces here, and we'll also use case. Okay, case label 1 and colon statement, case label 2 statement 2. Like that you can have n number of alternatives, and also default alternative also statement. Okay, this type of switch expression is either enumerated type or primitive type or wrapper type. So what does it mean by primitive type? Means a regular int, float, long, double, char. So we already discussed in previous sessions. So those primitive types can be used uh, as switch expressions. Okay, and switch body can be labeled. This defines entry point in switch body where control can be transferred depending on the value of expression. We will create a sample class on this switch expression and see how it works. Before we discuss about an example on switch statement, we will see like how if else statement can be executed, can be utilized. Okay, see here, we have used if and also else if here. See here, if a double equals to 1, then we are we are executing one statement. Else, okay, in else block also we can again put one more condition if. So we can use else if. Okay, else if a double equals to 2, then system out dot println. Else if a double equals to 3, system out dot println a equals to 3. and finally else system.out.println a is equal to 4. So these alternatives, we can use n number of options using this if else blocks. Okay, so if you look at here, so we have if else again we are adding if condition here, else if else. So we have 4 different alternatives. So if that expression satisfies, then that statement will execute. Otherwise, next statement. If second statement is also not satisfied, then third statement. If third statement is also not satisfied, then fourth statement. Okay, see, if we look at the a value is 3. Okay, now what we'll do, just we'll execute this one. Okay, run as Java. See here, first, is 3 equals to 1? No. So it will go to the second else. Okay. In else if block. Okay. Again, if a equals to 2, so is 3 equals to 2? No. So then it will go to the third statement. Else if a equals to 3, yes. So it printed a is equals to 3. Okay. So the same thing will represent in switch statement. So okay, let me show you how we'll represent switch statement. Switch a case 1 system out.println is equal to 1. Case 2. See here, switch, okay, open bracket, and here we can use in this expression what we can use, primitive data type or wrapper classes. We can use these. Okay, so here and open braces, and here using case statement will give all the options. So case 1, so if this expression matches this case label, okay, then it will print. Okay, if first case, then a is equals to 1. Case 2, system out.println a is equal to 2. Case 3, print 3. Otherwise default, if nothing matches, then print 4. Okay, so here what is the value? A equals to 3. We will execute. Okay, run as Java application. See here, a is equal to 3. And if I change a 3 to 2, run as Java application, a is equals to 2. Okay, yeah. Next one, iteration statements. Iteration statements are used to execute block of statements repeatedly. A Boolean condition is used to terminate the loop, and statements executed in the loop constitute loop body. Okay, so if you have any set of statements and you want to execute those statements repetitively, then you can use these iteration statements. There are 3 types of iteration statements. Okay, one is while statement, and do while statement, and finally for statement. Okay, we will discuss about these loop statements. Okay, first one is while statement. What is the syntax of while statement? While, and here you'll have the loop condition and loop body. So first of all, what will happen? First, it will check the expression, Boolean expression. If that is true, execute body. This execute loop body. Okay, what it will do, it will execute the loop body. If expression is true, then execute loop body, and again checks, okay, is this expression true? Yes. Like this, it repetitively execute these statements, and once this expression return false, then it will end that loop. So we will write an example on while statement and see how it works. Okay, yeah. So we have written one iteration test class here. See here, we have one main method in which integer I equals to 1. So I have declared one variable I and assigned the one value initialized with 1. Okay, and here we have this statement while and bracket start I less than or equals to 5. Okay, this is our expression. Okay, and started with open braces, curly braces, and here we printed system.out.println I. So we wanted to print I value. Okay, so what is the requirement for this one? So I want to print from 1 to 5 values. So for this, generally, if we don't have iteration statements, how we will execute that I'll explain later. Okay, so if you look at here, while I less than or equals to 5, system out.println I, and I incremented I plus plus. Okay, so we will execute this one. If you look at here, run as Java application. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how it works. Okay, so initially we have initialized with 1. Okay, so is 1 is less than or equals to 5? Yes, that is correct. So it executes, it prints system.out.println I. So what is the value of I? 1. Okay, 1. Then we incremented I. So 1 plus plus means 2 again. So it will execute again. So it will check the while expression. Okay, while is 2 less than or equals to 5? Yes. So is 2 is less than or equals to 5? Yes. So then again execute system out.println I. So it will print 2, and then we'll increment again 2 to 3. 3 is less than or equals to 5? Yes. So print 3 and increment 1 by 1. 4. 4 is less than or equals to 5? Yes. Print 4 and increment by 1. 5. And 5 is less than or equals to 5? Yes. Increment. So print 5. Okay. Then increment again 1. So 5 plus 1, 6. Is 6 is less than or equals to 5? No. So it will not execute. It ends the loop. So this is how we can print this 1 to 5 with loop statements. Okay, suppose if you don't have these loop statements, okay, if you don't have these loop statements, what will happen? Then you have to write system out.println 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Means the same statement, system out.println 1, this we are as it is repetitive. So what we are doing, we are using these loop statements to execute this same statement. Okay, this repetitive statement. If you don't have loop statements, so for 1 to 5, that's okay. We have written 5 statements. Suppose if they wanted us to print 100 numbers, then we cannot write these 100 statements, right? So we can use these loop statements to execute repetitively. Okay, we can execute these statements repetitively. We'll go back to the next slide. Next one is do while statement. So in while statement, first we have expression, then statement will be executed. Whereas in do while loop, first execute the statement, then increment the loop. Okay, first execute the statement, then increment the loop. So do loop body and while condition. So finally we will check the expression. If that satisfies, then it will uh, e- e- re- execute the other statement. Otherwise it will terminate the loop. So loop condition is evaluated after executing the loop body. Okay, the do while statement executes loop body until loop condition is false. We will see how it works. Okay, we'll create an example. See here, do system out.println I, then increment I while I less than or equals to 5. So in previous case, first we have while I less than or equals to 5. So first expression checks, then statement will execute. Here statement first executes, then expression it evaluates the it checks the expression. Okay, this is how. So in this case, I mean, like here at least once one statement will execute. If that is false, then it will end the loop. Okay, if it is false, then it will end the loop. Suppose if we have 6, So here, if you look at here, 6, so it printed at at least once at once. Okay, so first statement execute, then increment and checks if. Whereas if we have while loop here, while I less than or equals to 6, okay, 7, system dot out dot println dot println I plus plus, okay, or else I less than or equals to 5 will write. What I'll do, I'll comment this one. See, 6 is less than or equals to 5? No. So it will never execute the statement. See here? So in loop body never executes, whereas in do while at least once that statement executes, and if the expression is false, then it will terminate the loop from there. Okay? So this is how do while and while loop works. Okay? We'll go to the next iteration statement. Next iteration statement is for statement. So here the syntax of for loop here, for first expression is initialization, loop condition, increment expression, and open braces starts, loop body, and with curly braces. Okay, so here initialization, and then execute increment. First it initializes and evaluates the boolean expression, so it will check whether expression is it true. If it is true, execute the body and we will increment. So first execute the body, then increment the expression and check if the expression is true, then evaluate the boolean expression. If it is true, execute again, or else end the loop. So like this it will work. So it initializes first and checks the expression. If the expression is true, executes the body and then increment. So initialization, loop condition, and increment expression, everything will mention in the single statement. For in while loop, if you look at while loop, expression is in while statement, whereas body is loop body we have in the braces, and increment is within the body. Whereas here in for loop, increment expression is in within the statement itself only. Okay, we will write an example on for loop. See here, we have one first statement for here initialization integer I equals to 1, then expression I less than or equals to 5 and I plus plus, and this is the loop body system out.println I. So initialization, expression, and increment, and loop body. If you look at here, 1 2 3 4 5. So this while loop or do while loop or for loop, these three loop statements are used to execute statements repetitively. Okay, so based on our requirement, whatever you want, we can use appropriate loop statements. Okay, and we have this is a for loop, right? And we will discuss in the next slide that it is we have one more for loop called enhanced for loop. Okay, we will discuss about enhanced for loop as well. We'll go back to the next slide. Next one is enhance for statement. So in enhance for statement, we have for declaration and expression and loop body. Okay, so in previous for statement, what we have one initialization, expression, and increment expression and loop body. Here we have only for declaration, expression, and loop body. So this for loop header has two parts. One is declaration and local variable that can be assigned to this expression. Okay, we will write an example on this enhanced for statement as well. If you look at this statements, integer a array, okay, integer array, okay, which is having 1 2 3 4 5, and for int I, so this is one local variable which I declared colon a. So this is integer a array, okay? And system.out.println I. If you look here, run as Java application 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So whatever the data type, suppose here I have integer array, okay, which consists of integer values. So what I did, integer I, this is declared, and this is our expression, and this is our loop body. So in this way we can use the enhanced for loop. Okay. Next one is transfer statements. Okay, Java provides 6 language constructs for transferring control in a program. We have discussed about selection statements and iteration statements. Now, these transfer statements, like if we want to transfer the control from one statement to another statement, we can use these transfer statements. There are various transfer statements like break, continue, return, try, catch, finally, throw, assert. Okay, and label statements. So if a statement may have a label, so whenever you write any statements, you can create a label for that particular statement. How we can create a label for a particular statement? See here, label colon, and you can write the statement. A label is any valid identifier, and it always immediately precedes the statement. So it always, these labels always precedes the statement. Okay. Label exits its own their namespace, so they do not conflict with the name of the packages, classes, or interfaces, or methods, fields, and local variables. So if you look at here, L1 label 1, which is having multiple statements, integer j equals to 10 and system.out.println j. So if you want to transfer any statement from one label to another label, you can use those transfer statements. Okay. Next one is break statement. Break statement comes in two forms. One is unlabeled form and labeled form. So you can unlabeled, if you don't specify any label, just it executes wherever in it has. Okay, break. And another one is break label. If you look at here in previous example, in switch statement, what we did, we have various options, and whatever options it matches, it executes that particular statement. And after executing that statement, we should not execute the other statements. That is the reason we use this break statement. So what it does, it breaks the execution of those statements. We will see an example of that switch statement so that we can understand how break works. Okay. See here, we have switch A, case 1, system.out.println A is equals to 1, break, case 2, A is equals to 2, break, case 3, A is equals to 3, break. If I remove break statement for second case 2 and 3, what will happen? If we remove the break, what will happen? Okay. A is equals to 2, 3, 4. So it printed 2, 3, 4 because this is treated as label. So you are not, I mean, like it is not breaking that particular statement. So that is the reason it executed the other statements as well. A is equals to 3, A is equals to 4. So if something is matching and if you want to terminate the loop, then use the break statements. Okay. Next one is continue statement. Like the break statement, continue statement also comes in two forms, unlabeled form and labeled form. So continue, this is an unlabeled form, continue, and you can give the label name as well, labeled form. The continue statement can only be used in for loop. Okay, while do while to prematurely stop the current iteration of the loop body and proceed the next iteration if possible. If you look at here, for integer I equals to 1, I less than or equals to 5, I plus plus. If I equals to 4, continue, system.out.println I. We will write this example and see how it works. Okay. So we are using this enhanced for loop here for integer I equals to a. So if I equals to 4, continue, system.out.println. So what it will do, it will terminate, it will not execute the statement, and expression will increment. Okay, if you look at here, 1 2 3 4 5, run as Java application. 1 2 3 5, see here, 1 equals to 4, first 1 printed, okay, 2 printed, 3 printed, 4, yeah, is I equals to 4, yeah, 4 equals to 4, so don't execute the this statement, proceed further. Okay, so then 5 equals to 5, then so this continue what it will do within a loop. If you don't want to perform any specific statement execution, then you can put this condition so that it will not execute. Okay, so in break what it will do, it will terminate the loop, whereas it in continue, it will not execute within the loop body, and it proceed further. Okay, next transfer statement is return statement. The return statements is used to stop execution of a method and transfer control back to the calling code. The usage of two forms of return statement is dictated by whether it is used in void or non-void method. Okay, see here, return, this is not allowed. So in void method this is optional, whereas in non-void method it is not allowed. Whereas return expression, whereas in void method not allowed, in non-void method it is mandatory. Suppose if you want to return a sum of two numbers, how it works, like public integer sum, integer a, integer b, so here return type is integer, so this should return the value. If you don't return the value, compiler will throw an exception. Okay, so that's what here, return expression. So in non-void methods, in non-void method means the return type of sum is integer, so which is non-void method. Okay, this method should return the value, so that's why return expression, which is mandatory. Okay, we will see how it works. So we have written one transfer test class here. We have one method called public int sum integer a, integer b. So it takes two parameters, integer a, integer b, and it returns an integer value. And in this method body, what we did it here, we are returning the a plus b. Okay, in main method what we did, transfer test t equals to, we have created an object for this class, and t dot we call the sum of 3 comma 5. Okay, and which is assigned to some variable, and we are printing sum here. So if we run this one, 8, so it printed 8, so 3 plus 5, 8. Suppose uh, the return type of this method is sum is int. If we don't return value here, okay, uh, if you don't return any expression here, what will happen, it will throw an exception. See here, this method must return a result type of int. So here, even if you can return anything, we should return some value because this method's return type is integer. Okay, so we are done with these control statements. If you have any queries on today's session, please mail us at info@bicourses.com. We are happy to answer our queries and questions. Thank you so much.